welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at something, well, a bit paradoxical, isn't it? Texas, you think intense sun, perfect for solar power. But then you also think torrential rain, even hurricanes. So, how does solar technology actually handle that wild weather mix? Okay, let's unpack this. We're going to explore how rain affects solar panel efficiency, installation, system resilience. It's all based on real-world info and user experiences from Black Knight Power.
Right. Our mission today is really to uncover what makes solar work, even thrive, when the Texas weather goes off the rails. We'll touch on everything from, how rain impacts actual energy generation, to the structural stuff, water management, and crucially, how battery storage plays a role during those extreme events.
Okay, so let's start with the rain itself. My first thought, probably like a lot of people, is rain means clouds, less sun.
Yeah.
Less power, right? But the material we looked at hinted at something else, maybe even a surprising upside. What did we find there?
Yeah, it's fascinating. So obviously, cloudy, rainy days mean less direct sunlight. So yeah, production dips. That part's true. But there's this really significant, kind of unexpected benefit. Rain acts like a natural cleaner.
A cleaner.
Exactly. Think about places like West Texas, really dusty. Dust buildup can actually cut your output maybe up to 15% over a year. But then a good rain comes along, washes that dust off, and bam, you can see like a 3-5% efficiency boost right after the storm.
Wow, so it's like a free built-in maintenance check from the weather.
Pretty much. It cuts down on how often you might need to manually clean them, maximizing your investment,
Okay, that's a cool benefit. But with all that water, how do installers make sure it doesn't cause problems, like roof leaks or overflowing gutters?
Yeah, proper installation is absolutely key. You can't just slap them anywhere. For instance, installers often set the panels back a bit from the gutter edge, maybe 3 to 8 inches. That ensures water still flows correctly into the gutters, even in a heavy downpour.
Makes sense.
And the angle matters, too. That typical 10-30-degree tilt you see in Texas isn't just for sun exposure. It helps water drain off efficiently and reduces debris buildup, too.
Right. That makes sense for keeping things working well and protecting the roof. But I've heard, people get tempted by aftermarket stuff like coatings, thinking they can maybe boost that cleaning effect with something like Rain-X. What did our sources say about that? Because it sounds a little risky.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting and frankly a bit concerning. What we found strongly advises against using those aftermarket coatings.
Oh, why is that?
Well, they can actually degrade the factory-applied anti-reflective layers on the panel, and that could end up reducing your efficiency by maybe 1-3%, so the opposite effect you were hoping for.
Oh.
And get this, one user actually reported Rain-X causing their clothes to disintegrate over time after contact, which raises some serious questions about what it might do to the panel materials long-term.
Wow, clothes disintegrating.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a pretty vivid warning. Definitely stick to manufacturer advice then.
Let me
Just
get
a gentle rinse.
Exactly. Gentle rinse with deionized water, soft brush, maybe twice a year if needed. Keep it simple.
Okay, so that covers rain and maintenance. But what about the really extreme stuff? Like, how do these systems actually hold up in a hurricane?
That's a critical question, right? Can these systems genuinely provide resilience when things get really bad? Hurricane Beryl in Houston back in 2024 gave us a real-world test case.
Ah, okay. What happened?
We saw a report from a homeowner. They had a pretty substantial setup, a 22.68 kilowatt solar array, 3 Tesla Powerwalls. They reported having uninterrupted power through a 34-hour grid outage.
34 hours while the grid was down.
Yeah. And this was with winds hitting 65-70 mile per hour over 7 inches of rain. It wasn't just luck. The system design, the Powerwalls being charged up beforehand using Tesla's Storm Watch feature, it all worked together. It kept critical things like their AC units running. It really speaks to how tough modern mounting systems are, especially with extra anchoring in hurricane zones.
That kind of resilience, I mean, that's a huge advantage if you can invest in that kind of setup. But what about, the millions of Texans who rent? They can't just bolt panels onto a roof they don't own. How do they get in on this?
That's a really important point. The research does mention portable options. Think solar generators paired with foldable panels. They're temporary, no roof drilling needed. Good of backup power, maybe?
Okay, portable stuff. Anything else?
Well, there are also some community solar initiatives starting up, sometimes called solar gardens. Renters can sort of subscribe to a share in a larger off-site solar array and get credits on their electricity bills.
Interesting.
But the catch often is that these programs usually don't include battery storage. So while you get bill credits, you don't get that outage protection, which is a key benefit homeowners with batteries enjoy.
Gotcha. So there are options, but maybe not with the same level of resilience yet.
Yeah.
So wrapping this up, what's the big picture here? Texas's wild climate. It affects solar, sure, but it also seems to surprisingly benefit it sometimes.
It really does seem that way. The self-cleaning rain, the proven resilience in hurricanes, it shows how adaptable solar technology has become.
Yeah.
And, innovations are happening, better coatings for manufacturers, more modular storage, these community solar ideas are expanding access. But regulatory support is still key. Texas's deregulated market, sometimes with low buyback rates from utilities, can make it complicated for wider adoption.
Right.
For homeowners, though, pairing solar with battery storage is clearly a solid path to energy independence right now. And this kind of raises a final thought, maybe for you, the listener. As our climate keeps getting more intense, could we see hybrid systems emerge, like pluviovoltaic systems?
Pluviovoltaic, you mean harnessing both sun and rain for power.
Exactly. Could designs like that fundamentally change how we think about renewable energy reliability? And what other local energy solutions might pop up in your own area?
Fascinating stuff to think about. Definitely highlights the push towards energy independence and resilience, no matter what the Texas Guide decides to do.